Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I have good news, but I have bad news as well about the current landscape of dating and relationships here in the Philippines. I just want to share the harsh reality about what it's really like here and how things are changing in these new directions and where I kind of see things going, because things have changed a lot since I first came here almost 3 years ago. And I've talked to a lot of guys that have been here much longer than me, and they say the same thing about how it's changed a lot from when they came and up until now. And so you really have to know what you're getting into when you're coming here, because guys all around the world, Western countries, not just the US and Canada and UK, whatever, it's so many countries that have the Philippines on their radar. You know, India, Poland, Russia. That point alone, just the sheer number and the saturation of, guys focusing on the Philippines does have a lot to do with what I'm going to talk about in this video. But don't get discouraged. I am going to tell you some things that maybe you don't want to hear, but I'm going to finish, like I said, with good news and sort of give you some perspective of things that I think will leave you with a good feeling and some optimism about things over here. So don't just scrap your plans to come to the Philippines. This is all going to sound okay by the end of this video. Before I get started, guys, I want to give a shout out to the partner of this video, Filipina. I've been working with them for a while now. I do one partner video with them per month just to share with you guys an option if you're thinking about going the online route to meet a Filipina. And so if you are looking to go online and you are in a position now where you want to take things serious and you want to meet someone for like a genuine relationship, long-term marriage, that kind of thing, Filipina focuses on that. That's the whole point of their online service, is to match genuine people together. There's more of a service element to it. So if you're having any issues, you have someone that you can call anytime. If you're concerned about a profile or a person and you think they might be not genuine or scammer type, you can reach out to customer service. It's definitely more that kind of thing. So anyways, no obligation whatsoever. There's a link in the description. You can give them a call, check out their packages, see if it's a good fit for you. And if you do give it a go, I wish you good luck. I hope you meet someone amazing. All right, let's get to this video, starting with the bad news, guys. Well, as I was kind of mentioning in the opening there, things are changing here in the Philippines. They are not what they used to be. And the main point I want to make with that is I think it's harder now than ever to find your way through the mess. The mess is bigger now. The barriers are, there's more barriers. There's more crap you have to go through before you can find someone that you're going to feel compatible with, that you're going to feel you can trust. With the sheer number of guys that are focused on the Philippines, there's just so much attention. Filipinas, whether they're in the city or way out in the province in the middle of nowhere, they have online access. They're getting the attention from guys. And it's going to mess with the mindset, right? It's going to impact the mindset of girls, just as it does with guys that come here and they're just like, oh my God, they're flooded. Their inbox is flooded with matches. It can be overwhelming. The same thing is happening for Filipinas. It's for them to decide who they put their attention to. Another thing, a lot of these guys lead with their wallet. A lot of these guys will use that as a strategy to get someone's attention, to have someone interested in them. And then it's also guys that open up their wallet easily from girls that are throwing out the hardships. And then the guys open up their wallet and then there's money exchange that way too. There's always going to be the scammer type that's just focused on getting money and manipulating you. But there's a lot of girls that are being influenced by the simple fact that there's a lot of money going around. It can be handed out easily, and money does not come by easily in the Philippines in any other way. I met a group of girls when I was in the province, kind of like friends or whatever. And this one girl matched with a guy. They ended up chatting. Within a week, he bought her a brand new iPhone. And then an allowance started kicking in. And so her friends were like, well, I want an iPhone. I would love an allowance like that. It's like life-changing money, right? You can see how this can spread. You can see how a good girl who has such a high focus on helping her family and all that can just fall into that mindset easily and find herself just focused on the money thing. Another story, I had met a girl who was from the province, and we met, we had coffee, and I ended up chatting with her afterwards, and she said, hey, I want to be honest with you. When I was chatting with you and agreed to meet and all that stuff, she's like, I wasn't serious about any kind of relationship, and I was planning on trying to find a way to get money from you. I was surprised that she opened up, but I was sort of quizzing her about some things, and it just sort of came out. But she said, when I met you in person and I saw you as an actual person and you were very nice, I felt really bad about it. And she just basically said, it's just focused on, the struggle with my family. And I thought that could be a good way to solve some of these problems. This kind of thing is way more common than I ever even realized. Even a buddy of mine and his wife, who's amazing, and they're a great couple, was telling me about her friends, her single friends who she loves, and they're great people and they're great with their family and great with kids and so many good things you can say about them. When the conversation came up about, potentially dating or meeting, she was like, I gotta tell you though, they have pretty much all had done something online with guys in a scammy type of way or in a non-genuine type of way in order to get money, in order to get help with this, help with that, send me money for this. They've all sort of played the game with foreigners in order to, manipulate the situation a little bit to get that easy money. Good, nice, genuine people are falling into this type of lifestyle here because of the number of guys that are coming here, because of the easier opportunities probably now than ever to kind of tap into this business, this almost like big business here in the Philippines for Filipinas to have some life-changing money. Another big thing, guys, that's impacting the way things are here in the Philippines now, it's not a new thing, but it's only getting worse, and that is social media and how that impacts, Filipinas and their view on dating and relationships with foreigners in particular, and how it's impacting province Filipinas, the type of Filipinas that were once really sought after for their being traditional or being the type of girl that you cannot find in a Western country. The Philippines was always a place where you can find that. Well, social media is screwing it up for a lot of Filipinas for various reasons. The same way social media messes up people in your own country, it's doing the same thing here. Unrealistic expectations, a bigger focus on vanity, getting addicted to, the attention that you get on social media, external validation from foreigners that they're, friends with now on Facebook, getting likes, getting comments, things like that. That becomes addicting. That changes the psyche of, Filipinas that are out in the middle of nowhere making these little videos and posts. Social media is great in many ways, but it sucks in so many ways too. And there's no question it is, changing the way things are here. It's trending quickly away from the way it used to be here in the Philippines, quite quickly because of social media, unfortunately, guys. All right, let me just switch perspectives real quick on you to make a few points so you really know what you're getting into, because guys come to the Philippines or they start the process online, trying to meet someone with really high hopes and really high expectations. A lot of excitement for good reason, right? Like being fed up with the crappy dating environment back home. The Philippines just sounds like the perfect place, the perfect opportunity. And what often happens is guys realize that finding compatibility might be harder than you think. You might come here with a certain thing in mind of what you're looking for and then realize, maybe the conversations are shallow or not deep conversations. They're very simple conversations. And a lot of guys struggle with that. Language is part of that, but I'm just talking the actual depth of the conversation, the banter. And a lot of guys don't even realize how important that is for them. Part of it is just cultural and a lack of exposure to different things and ideas and topics that you're used to. Unless you're meeting girls like in Manila, grew up there, working at an international company, traveling, things like that. A lot of guys come here and match and meet, province Filipinas, for example, and their exposure to different things is very limited. And so the conversations are going to be very simple. They're going to be very different. And some guys are totally fine with that. And some guys know what they're getting into. They like that, they want that, or they adapt very well to that. But a lot of guys do not. You really need to know what is important to you when it comes to connecting with someone. Another thing is feeling the pressure for, marriage and kids, and Filipinas wanting that security to kick in right away. And a lot of guys are just not comfortable with that. Talking about big picture things way earlier than maybe what you're used to. And so that is something that some guys are prepared for and some guys want. Some guys will come here and they're ready to get married, and they'll get married within a few weeks of meeting someone. But a lot of guys are going to be thrown off by that. I have chatted with girls that basically before even meeting, they're talking about marriage and kids. And one girl in particular was saying, worst case scenario, if you don't want to marry me, I at least want to have a kid. I at least want to have a child with you. And if I raise the child on my own, that's totally fine. So it's different here when it comes to that kind of thing. And it's something you're going to have to navigate, and it's something that is way more challenging than I think a lot of guys realize. And so this point, what often happens is that's where guys get into the cycle of dating and not committing to anyone because of all of these different barriers and things that I'm bringing up. It's harder than you think to meet someone where it just clicks and there's not any big issues, there's not anything to worry about, there's not too many pressures, and it just feels right, and it matches your goals in life. Coming here with more financial freedom, time, wanting to live a certain lifestyle. It's endless, the challenges that can come into play when it comes to meeting someone and feeling like, all right, this is it, let's go for it. So now let's pivot completely to the good news, the positive side of all of this, guys. As hard as it might be for a lot of guys, it's not hard for everyone. And I know a lot of guys that are happy here in relationships. They're happily married, or they're happily just in a relationship with someone. One thing that I notice with a lot of them is they're adaptable guys. They're open-minded. Some of the girlfriends of these guys have a few kids. Well, I know many guys won't deal with that, especially younger kids. But guys that are okay with that and embrace that, they're rolling with things here. They're overlooking a lot of things that a lot of guys won't overlook. This is probably the biggest thing that I notice with guys that are successful here. Another thing would be the really cute, attractive girl that you see everywhere on dating apps, on Facebook, walking around. A lot of the guys that I know that are happily married or in relationships, they're not dating way out of their league. They're dating someone that's a little bit more on the same page. There's probably some age gap. It seems like there's always some age gap here with guys that come, but just overall and in terms of looks and things like that, again, they're a little bit more well matched. That seems to be way more common for the guys that are settled into things. It's not like the shocking hottie with the big overweight, out of shape, old guy. You see that here, but it's often just more, it's odd, or it's just noticeably transactional, or noticeably maybe not compatible. And then of course there's exceptions to that, big time. There are guys that are like, wow, look at your wife, and it seems legit and great and compatible and all that stuff. But just making a point here, guys, that if you come here with a little bit more reasonable expectations on who you're going to be with and who you're going to settle with, and if you're open to girls with kids, or if you want to have kids and you're really wanting to get married, now you're falling into that category of, it's going to be a lot easier for you. A lot of guys wonder what it might be like to meet a girl in another country. Like, of course, guys are giving up on their Western countries, but what about Thailand? What about Vietnam? What about Mexico? What about the Dominican Republic? What about Costa Rica? Well, all of those countries that I just listed are countries of are places where I've recently chatted with guys that came from those countries, that tried in those countries, that tried and failed and are now looking at the Philippines as a better option. And when they start to compare and they start to look into, the pros and cons of both, they realize, well, there's pros and cons everywhere, but the Philippines is still way better. And that's really the main message I want to end this video with. Good luck finding a better place. You're not going back to the US and coming anywhere near the Philippines when it comes to opportunities, despite all of this crap that you have to navigate through. And you're not necessarily going to find anything better in a developing country or a place that's, cheaper or whatever. Yeah, you might. And I'm sure there are guys out there that have had success and some of those countries that I listed or a different country. But when you start comparing and you start talking to guys that have been to these other countries, you're not going to find a country that easily that's better than the Philippines in terms of overall opportunity, the type of girls that you can meet here, English speaking, you know, the type of culture that is basically the reason why guys come here in the first place. The Philippines is still a phenomenal place and a phenomenal opportunity for you to experience something way better than what you're experiencing currently. There is interest in foreigners, and that alone, even if you have to date for a little while and then date someone else, it's not terrible. It still gives you good, positive feelings about your opportunities here, because at least you get some momentum going. At least you're getting really good, positive attention. And if you're decent at navigating the girls that are just you don't want to mess with, you're probably still at least having some, you know, relations with girls, dating girls until you find the right one. And maybe you're having shorter term relationships that don't work out. But if something doesn't work out, it's not going to be that hard for you to get back on the horse again and find someone else and see where that goes. And that is something that you're just not able to do back home. And it's not something, from what I'm understanding, that's as easy to do in some of these other countries. You know, the cultural compatibility, the language barrier, and other reasons, it's still probably one of the best, if not the best place in the world, in my opinion, for anything to do with dating and relationships. So there you go, guys. I think there's so many reasons to be optimistic. And I think if you come here with the right mindset and you come here with the right expectations and you know what you're getting into and you're just content even being single and just being content without pressure on yourself to just find the perfect girl, you know, that's something that I've adapted to or adjusted to over the years that I've been here. I came here with, you know, a little bit of a pressure on myself to meet this perfect person, to mold into my lifestyle. But I can tell you this, I'm very happy. Like I love my freedom. I love my flexibility. I love my lifestyle. I don't have high pressure on myself. I don't have this urgency to get married and all of those things. So that's not something that's driving me. So I'm okay. And I think a lot of guys share this kind of attitude as well. And some guys might tell you, like a friend of mine who I just interviewed, Brian, he's not even wanting a relationship. He loves being single. He has no intention for settling down, but he dates, he's forthcoming about it. He's upfront about it. And he just has time with his buddies. He travels. He might have someone that he's chatting with that he'll take on a trip and he'll show them some really amazing places. And he's just upfront about his intentions of staying single and not being, you know, tied down or not having the stress of things. This kind of free, flexible, single life for a lot of guys, at least in the time being until the right thing comes around without feeling pressure to just jump into something, I think it's okay. The point I'm trying to make, guys, if you come here with just a good mindset, an open mindset, without that pressure, all of this crap that I'm talking about is not going to impact you that much. Just be patient, enjoy your time here. You know, figure out what you're looking for. That's one of the biggest things for sure. And and the right thing will happen at the right time. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, check out the links in the description for Christian Filipina and other things that I have in there that will help you out with your travels and adventures over here to the Philippines. See you guys soon. More videos to come. Ciao.